School districts across the country are in a tight spot because inflation has certainly impacted the cost of school lunches. Their resources haven't changed, and when it comes to the providers of school lunches, turns out there's a bit of a monopoly going on. And so let's get to the details and what they're planning to do to essentially find resources to pay for school lunches. Now, some school districts have resorted to doing away with utensils and only serving finger foods to save money. Other school districts are thinking about firing staff in order to come up with the resources that way. Now, manufacturers, distributors, and suppliers who have worked with schools for many, many years are passing off the higher costs associated with inflation to the school districts, which very clearly do not have additional resources in order to pay for the higher prices. While inflation is inching down in recent months, food prices at primary and secondary schools were up more than 300% in January from the year before, according to federal data. Cenk.
Yeah, so this is one of the many problems we face. And look, it leads to the larger issue. The larger issue is that we've got to fund the things that actually take care of American citizens first.
Yes. Before
we go funding other things. So it's not a right-wing talking point, like, oh, America first. No, I'm not saying that, hey, look, some people in a different country need help with an earthquake, with famine, or ending the war that our allies started. Okay, I got it, right? But I am talking about before you go help the defense contractors and the bankers and the drug companies and the oil companies, maybe you should help actual human beings like our kids first.
Yeah, maybe pare back the oil subsidies and use some of the resources toward helping the American people. In this case, literally children in school who are now dealing with subpar lunches as a result of inflation and the school districts not having the resources to pay the higher prices for the food. I mean, look, Paula DeLuca, who is the nutrition director for Wake County Public Schools in North Carolina, used to receive a letter warning about price hikes from food containers about once a year on average. But those notices have already flagged increases for 200 of the roughly 700 products ordered by the district's buying group for the current school year, she said. The other thing I'm a little concerned about here is, as with many different industries and many different sectors of our economy, there's a bit of a monopoly when it comes to the providers for the school lunches for these school districts. There are just 3 main providers. There's US Food, Performance Food Group, and Cisco. And so is there real competition taking place between these 3 providers? I mean, the less options you have, the less competition there is, the more they can charge whatever they want, and they can, of course, just point to inflation for why the prices are so high. But the real question is, how much are they increasing the prices? Is it really because of inflation, or are they exploiting the inflation narrative in the media in order to justify astronomically high prices for these school districts?
So number one, yes, it's an oligopoly like almost every industry in this country now. In my book, Just Coming, I talk about how the number of publicly traded companies has dropped dramatically in the last 40 years. Why? Because there's less capitalism? No, because the larger companies are swallowing up all the smaller companies, and deregulation is letting them. Then that creates less competition, which creates price fixing. If you have 17 companies in a certain industry, it's harder to price fix because numbers 15, 16, and 17 is going to want to compete based on cost. If there's only 2 or 3 companies in an industry, they're not going to want to compete on cost. Look, here's your proof in this literal pudding. 300%, inflation ain't 300%. No, you chose to mark it up 300%.
Yes, exactly.
And we did stories earlier about grocery stores, similar issue, food, and what their CEOs told in investor calls were, look guys, it looks like our customers can't do anything about how much we're increasing prices. They're absorbing all of the price increases and then some. So we decided to charge them more to increase our profits. In the investor calls, they brag about that. And we have it on record. We've shared it with you guys before. So are these companies that provide food to kids doing something similar? Of course they are. They're just maximizing profit at our kids' expense.
And there had been some assistance from the federal government during the pandemic era, and a lot of those subsidies, a lot of that help is set to expire, which is gonna make the situation even worse. And at the end of the day, I know it's gonna happen, right? I mean, the finger foods in lieu of using utensils is a cute idea, but at the end of the day, they're just gonna fire a bunch of staff workers.
Yeah, so I'm worried about how this ends. One last thing, guys. The right wing has that America First slogan, and it's a reference to old school fascist slogans, etc. So I hate it, but I do want American citizens to be first. So I just came up with, in the middle of this story, my new slogan: humans first. Okay, and so the reason I say that is because why are we giving everything to corporations?
Because this is America, it's what America does.
Exactly, yeah. And having the slogan of humans first highlights that, because it forces the media to go, what do you mean? Because they never talk about corporate power. And that's a juxtaposition that all Americans would be in favor of, not just the right way. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.